Welcome everyone to Influential Leadership Tips. I'm John Hadley.
And I'm Dave Miller. John, today I wanted to talk about something that may seem obvious to our viewers out there, but I see it so much, I felt like we needed to address it. And broadly, I would describe this as passive-aggressive behaviors. Have you ever dealt with that in corporate life?
All the time, yes.
What's like an example of one that you've run into?
The person who comes and tells you, "Oh, what a good idea," and then you find that they're actually doing things to tank it behind the scenes.
Oh, how sinister! Wow, that's a really good example. I think the one I'm going to come up with might be even more common, at least hopefully it's more common than that. And this is one I ran into with a client, and we put together a survey, doing some change management work with this client, and she had a leadership team of, say 3 people, I think it was. And, I drafted an email for the survey to go out to the unit there, about 20 people taking the survey. Long story short, we sent the survey out. They had about 11 days to do this, okay? So almost 2 weeks. And I sent a couple reminders as the deadline came closer. And what I noticed was that when the deadline came, everybody had answered the survey except for these 3 leaders. Okay? Now, I don't know. How would you feel about that?
I'd be a little annoyed.
I just thought it said something. Now, when I talked to one of my partners about it, he says, well, they probably didn't understand it or see how important it was. I'm not sure I'd agree with that, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt that they didn't understand it. Or they didn't really say, like, why are we doing this? Why is it important? Why wouldn't they ask those kind of questions?
Absolutely.
As a leader, I don't think that kind of behavior is of a leadership quality. To just let things go, to just ignore something. I think you need to model proactive behavior. And, if something doesn't make sense to you, it could be very valid, then you ask the question. You say, hey, I know I have this survey. There's a deadline coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure why we're doing this. I'm not sure what it means. Can you fill me in? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is a very common sort of thing. And I can kind of understand the psychology. If I'm not so sure why we're doing it, what the purpose, how important it is, it's easy for me to kind of let it slide, and I see these other things. But yeah, it's definitely not a leadership quality, because a true leader would get in and either make a call one way or the other, either find out why this is important and why we're doing it and commit to doing it because my team's doing it.
Right.
Or
everybody that reported to them did it. Now they did it because they were told to do it, but.
Or I'd figure out it's not a priority and I'd deal with it that way. But just to kind of let it go without saying something or doing something, it's really
it told me something about the dynamics of that team.
Right.
So I don't want to make too big a deal about it, but at the same time, I think it sends a message.
Definitely.
And so, the tip is, as a leader, to avoid passive aggressive behavior, even in the little things. And make sure you're modeling, how to not fall into those traps, how to not do that behavior, because people will pick that up and they'll do the same thing. Well, my boss just doesn't respond to emails, so do I have to respond to emails? I mean, and you look kind of hypocritical if you come down on someone because they're not responding to emails when they see you not doing it. So that's my tip for today. Look at your own behavior. Say, hey, are there things maybe I'm not seeing, some blind spots? And look out for that. So have a great week.
And until then, be influential.